We have breaking news on the economy as the August jobs report crossed just moments ago. 1.4 million jobs were added in the month of August, and the unemployment rate dropped to 8.4%. Let's bring in former Treasury official and Morning Joe economic analyst Steve Rattner. Steve, what does this tell us?
What this tells us is that the economy is still recovering, but quite slowly. So the good news is that we did add 1.4 million jobs. The bad news is that we added fewer jobs than we did the previous month and way fewer jobs than we did the month before that. And so the pace of job recovery is much slower. So we're in this sort of glass half full, glass half empty scenario, both politically and economically. It's getting better, but even at 8.4% unemployment, we're still in very difficult conditions, about as bad as it was in the great financial crisis. And I think many of us worry that this economic recovery could stall out along the way here as we see more and more layoffs coming from big companies because the government aid is not there and because people are still staying in place more than they used to.
I mean, how many companies are going to go back to business as usual now that they've found new ways of doing business that include a lot less of the middleman in between, whether it be the commute in or the flights or the trains or the brick and mortar? There's that. On top of the fact that a lot of small businesses have been decimated. I mean, just visiting recently one of my kids, trying to find a dry cleaner, trying to find everything is shut down. Everything, they're shut, they've left, don't know where they've gone. What do you foresee ahead for the economy, for those who have been completely taken off the map because of the coronavirus?
This is the problem, Mika, that while many people are coming back to work, more and more people who are not at work are reporting that they're not just on temporary furlough anymore, they're now on permanent layoff, which doesn't mean they can never be rehired. It simply means that the idea that this was going to be this quick V-shaped thing and people were going to come right back to work seems to be going away. You do have a whole set of sectors, travel, hospitality, restaurants, entertainment, that are still either completely shut down or nearly shut down and not coming back anytime soon. And so what we've seen happen and what I think we're looking at is a recovery where there was a bounce back, no question about it, after that initial precipitous fall, but where we now seem to be leveling off or stalling out, if you want to call it that, significantly below our potential, 10, 15, 20% below our potential, which simply means another very long-term set of economic challenges for the next president in terms of structurally fixing this economy, both in terms of the kinds of people you referred to who are simply at companies where they're going to do just the same or less, but with many fewer people, or these whole sectors of the economy that simply have not come back yet. So the next president is going to face a huge set of challenges. I would just lastly quickly note that there's only one more unemployment number between now and the election. And so Donald Trump will be running for re-election with an economic record that in the past has been very, very difficult for an incumbent president.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.